let's talk about ListKit, because another thing that's been happening, we don't need to share any numbers, but in the last month or so, you've been able to get churn rate down and it's been just dropping precipitously. So what goes into that for a software company? Just
Yeah, is it all the new plans or what?
There's so much that goes into churn rate, but I think the biggest learning with SaaS is like churn is the biggest killer of revenue growth. We had like great revenue growth early on for the first 90 days. We like sped right to $1 million in ARR. And then it didn't flatline. It just wasn't growing as fast as we wanted it to for a long time. And that's because churn rate was basically fighting growth. Right? Because basically what is churn? It's like if you sign 10 new customers, but your churn rate's 25%, like those customers are gone literally within 4 months. And so if you don't replace 10 new customers every 4 months, you're declining in growth. And so like, yeah,
what does
we
the
had
percentage even measure? Like how many leave every month?
What's that?
the percentage of your user base that
Leaves
Every month.
every month. But and then the user base grows. So what helps churn is the fact that you also have so many new users coming in, right? Because that affects the churn rate because it makes the user base larger. So 10 out of 1,000 is a lot more than 10 out of 2,000.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, churn rate is like the biggest killer. And for our agency, it was always like a metric that didn't change like dramatically, right? It wasn't ever like it went from 10% to 25% really quickly because there were only so many clients. But for something like ListKit, when you have right now, we have over 1,200 active users, dude, I can't go and talk to 1,200 people and figure out whether or not they're thinking of canceling. Like you just find out when they do. And then when they do, it's really hard to collect the reason because there's not enough buy-in. Like you were on meetings with them before, like you were at an agency and you had some form of communication with them. Most of the time, you have no idea who these people ever are and you never will because it's just such high volume in the amount of customers. So churn rate is just something that like, if you're not really paying attention to it, like every day and tracking, like, where is it going and why is it going that way? It's going to get out of hand. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, in the last month, we took churn from I'll say those numbers specifically. The height was 23.8%, which is frankly like embarrassing of a churn rate, all the way down to now just under 13%. So like less than half of where we were at a month ago. And some of the ways we were able to do that is, number one, I think the most obvious is just improve the product. Like if people are churning at that percentage, it's probably because the product's not meeting their needs. And so you improve the product. And then once you improve the product, a lot of times you can improve the product, but the users don't know that it's improved. And so you have to help them like understand how to use the product in the way that they want to, like in a way that gets them the results that they want. And so you do that through like, we have one-on-one onboarding calls with everyone who signs up to ListKit to make sure that they know how to actually use like the different features that we've built. And then we have customer support. Like our team there is amazing. We now have 18 hours of support every single day and on weekends with a 3-minute average response time. So like, there's no way you reach out to our team and don't get an answer like before you leave the tab or the computer to go do something else. So it's just a bunch of little things. And then, yeah, like Christian said, pricing plans too. Like it's going to be a lot easier to justify paying $79 a month if I get 2,000 credits as opposed to 1,000 credits.
Yeah.
It's just like the value of the service you're now offering, you're able to justify keeping it a lot longer than you were before. So those are most of the things that go into churn percentage and taking it down.
what goes into building a support team like that can be online basically 24/7, that can hop on calls with 50 plus people a week when it's busy? Like how did you actually structure that team? Like where are all these people? How'd you build the Avengers that you got on the support side now?
Bro, the secret is like all of our support team except Bryce. So Bryce was a unique scenario because he was someone that wanted to join Client Ascension. And so we bartered a deal where we let him into Client Ascension in exchange for being on our support team. So like the nice thing about having businesses that other people get value from and like are actually interested in buying from you is like you can use those services to help grow other ventures that you have going on, right? Like we talked about this before. The best hires, even for Client Ascension, come from the Client Ascension community itself.
Yeah.
And so that was where Bryce came from. And then the rest are all in Lebanon. And so like that's probably our biggest secret. If there is one, it's just like hiring really cheap talent from Lebanon. But like these guys are not like your typical VAs in Pakistan or Ukraine or wherever else people hire VAs, like in what are some of the other places like
Philippines.
Eastern Europe or
Philippines is huge. The
Philippines
biggest.
or some places down south. So
Yeah.
it's nothing like that. Like Christian, you were on the call today with some of the guys. Like they're just like me, like literally just like me. They speak like me. They joke like me. They understand American culture the same way I do, and they're the hardest workers in the room every single time. And so you just give them a mission. You give them really good pay, which to us is like not a big expense really, comparatively to like what they would be getting paid
Yeah.
or what we would have to pay an American to do the job.
Yeah.
And then I think the good thing about ListKit and how we built the support team is you show them the numbers and the results of their work. So like them seeing the churn rate at 23.8 pisses them off. Them seeing negative reviews pisses them off. And so then them taking all these actions and seeing, okay, now the churn rate's here. Now the reviews are saying this. Like they're hyped, bro. We had an ice cream party last week because they were so hyped.
How do you get ice cream over to Lebanon?
Oh, they just took it out of their fridge. Actually, it was during Ramadan, so I felt bad. So it was just me and Bryce.
That's so funny.
So it was terrible. But we rescheduled another one for when we're under 10%
so messed
churn
up.
rate, or when we get 100 positive or 5-star G2 reviews. But yeah, it's just hiring cheap talent in Lebanon. And I think the fact that I'm also from Lebanon, so I can like understand their culture and speak to them about things that are happening in the country. Like these guys are like my brothers. Like I actually love these guys. Like it's the most fun I have running the business is getting to meet and interact with these guys and help them. And then just like anytime you hire someone, find out what motivates them. It's not always going to be how much you pay them. Like they all have their own individual goals that I can help support. Like for example, one of our guys wants to visit Japan one day. And so like he sets aside money every single month. Burhan, he wants to visit Japan. That's like
Is he
been
an
a
anime
lifelong
guy?
goal for him. Huh?
He's an anime guy.
No. He's a gamer. But like helping him to reach that goal through the work he's doing for ListKit, like it just gives him a higher purpose rather than I'm just answering angry customers on intercom all day.
Yeah.
If that's the job description and that's all it equates to, then you're never going to find someone that's good at the job and that sticks around and does it as long as you want them
I want to
to.
go on intercom later and just see what I haven't like. I haven't checked that in months.
You would be blown away by
Really?
some of the things that these guys are shielding us from and just dealing with on a day to day. And like
Yeah.
the attitude that they bring. I mean, Dan
I
knows it
remember when
better
I
than,
was a sport team.
than anyone. Dan
Dan would be like, "I'm going to
lunch.
lunch. I'll log in." I'm like, "Fuck, come back from lunch, bro."
Yeah, for like the first month, you were managing intercom.
Like
for
6
us.
weeks, dude. I remember
Yeah.
I went to New York City right when we launched. I was traveling and like I was literally just sitting in a bar and it was with Max, with Julia, with a couple of her friends. And they're like, dude, what is wrong with you? Because I'm just sitting in the corner, not socialized. I'm just like the whole time because it's like super busy. It's on launch. Like credits aren't loading in the account. You know, people are like just freaking out about
out.
all like the different bugs. The system's down. Remember, we'd have to wait.
Yeah,
There'd
we'd
be,
have
like,
to reboot it,
and you
change servers.
change servers. You'd export a list. You'd have to wait 3 hours. The list isn't anywhere, but the credits are taken out. And I was just like, they're like, do you want another drink? I was like, yeah, give me 2. I'm just,
It's like whenever I lose, I just go on my phone the whole time.
What is that from?
I think you should leave, of course.
Of course.
I was gonna say
Like, I
for
have
the
no problem
audience
being on
to-
my phone the whole time.
But yeah,
understand
those
our
first couple weeks in Intercom was not the most fun I've had running these businesses. But
Yeah.
it was a good experience because then I was like, when I was finally away from it, I was like, wow. It was like the sun was out again.
No, I know. It's a pain, dude. It takes a really like patient person that can like see through the negative messages that they're receiving all day, every day. So just like be positive. Like Burhan, if you
Yeah.
interact with him, and Saeed, if you interact with him, they're the happiest people. Like the messages that they receive and the shitty people that they have to sometimes deal with, like do not affect them at all. Which that's I couldn't do it. Like I'd just get pissed off. I'd fight with the customer. Like I get so offended. And that's why I'm not the person doing the role. And same with you. Like maybe you're gonna get offended, but you
No,
just
I definitely did in like the first 2 weeks, and then you get thick skin. You kind of just like detach a little bit.
yeah. It's just like it's not a fun role if you're not built for that environment.